A Promised Land. This video is based on key insights from the book A Promised Land by Barack Obama. Chapter 1. In his autobiography, Barack Obama shares his deep appreciation for the power of democracy and its manifestations in his life. The West Colonnade at the White House, with its historical significance, symbolizes this profound respect. This walkway became his daily ritual, a path connecting home to office where he prepared for the day's challenges. It was more than just a route. It was a place steeped in presidential history, from Theodore Roosevelt's transformation of the building for modern needs to Franklin D. Roosevelt's inclusion of accessibility features like the ramp at its end. Obama walked this colonnade with purpose, feeling the weight of history and the responsibility that came with his role. He moved briskly, conscious of those who had come before him, including FDR, whose wheelchair necessitated the ramp. This ritual, combined with his early morning reflections, was a moment of personal preparation for the day's crises and arguments with Congress or concerned citizens. The West Colonnade also offered a visual reminder of the democratic process. In action, the vibrant Rose Garden, meticulously maintained by hardworking groundskeepers. Their dedication echoed the sentiment of his mother, who instilled in him the belief that true citizenship involves caring for others and striving for positive change. Obama saw these groundskeepers as guardians of a solemn order, much like the workmen depicted by Norman Rockwell in his painting, toiling to polish the symbol of liberty, Lady Liberty's lamp. Just as the colonnade held historical significance and daily rituals, Obama's time at the White House was filled with both public spectacles and private memories. He recalled big events like press conferences and small ones such as surprise visits from his daughters or playful moments with his dogs in the snow-covered grounds. These interspersed personal snapshots, like photographs developing in a darkroom, often interrupted his thoughts, filling him with nostalgia for past moments and anticipation for future ones. The evenings brought a different rhythm. As he walked back to the residence, laden with papers and the day's conclusions, Obama would sometimes pause, inhaling the scent of earth and grass, listening to the wind or rain. He gazed at the grand White House, its flag flying high, against the night sky pierced by the solitary Washington Monument and the distant stars or passing aircraft. These moments were when he contemplated his unusual journey to this position of power. Growing up, Obama didn't hail from a political family. His grandparents, Midwesterners with liberal views, were more concerned with good citizenship than partisan leanings. His mother, Ann Dunham, however, was full of strong opinions and instilled in him a sense of moral duty. She exposed him to societal issues, from civil rights marches to critiques of the Vietnam War, and challenged him about distinguishing between selfish individuals who only care for their own desires versus those who uplift others. These lessons shaped his worldview. Obama's childhood was far from politics. His father, a Kenyan government worker, had little influence on young Barack beyond occasional letters, suggesting practical professions like architecture. The absence of both parents was a constant. Their impacts felt mostly through stories and recollections. The lack of his father's input or knowledge about him led to speculations among friends upon Obama's political rise. How could this cool, collected leader emerge from the easygoing teenager they remembered? As Obama entered college at Occidental in 1979, he was a curious, but not particularly focused, student. He navigated by the winds of his romantic interests, adopting intellectual pursuits to impress potential partners. His real intellectual journey began when he discovered books that sparked deeper thinking about society and politics, away from surface-level college debates. Reading led him to question class and racial dynamics in America, drawing inspiration from authors like Ralph Ellison and Langston Hughes. At Occidental and later Columbia, Obama's awakening to democracy was gradual. It began with understanding the complexities of his mixed heritage, being biracial in a predominantly white environment. This sparked curiosity about social justice and equality, leading him to engage with diverse perspectives from various backgrounds. He read extensively, forming opinions that weren't always popular, but were rooted in his unique experiences. His college years were marked by intense self-reflection and a drive for authenticity. In New York, Obama questioned the conventional understanding of American politics, skeptical of both the grandeur and the gritty realities he observed. He yearned for a democracy that was more inclusive, less corrupted by moneyed interests. A democracy of active participation and empowerment, not just a spectator sport for the privileged few. This search led Obama to community organizing in Chicago. Here, he found the practical application of his evolving political philosophy. Amidst the challenges of urban decay, he learned the value of collective action and policy reform. His work with churches and local residents wasn't just about immediate results, but about cultivating a democratic spirit. One where everyday people could shape their city's future through engagement and activism. In Chicago, Obama saw the transformative potential of grassroots democracy. Despite limited success in policy changes, he witnessed how ordinary citizens could mobilize and effect meaningful change when given a voice. His experiences there reinforced his belief in the power of collective action to address societal issues and bridge racial divides. This journey from the West Colonnade's reflections to the gritty streets of Chicago underscores Obama's profound respect for democracy, not as an abstract concept, but a living, breathing force that empowers individuals to shape their collective destiny. His story is one of personal growth intertwined with civic duty, where the path from teenager to leader was paved by a deep understanding and unwavering faith in the democratic potential within us all. Chapter 2. In the bustling city of Chicago, Barack Obama met Michelle Robinson when they were both working at law firms. They hit it off right away and became friends as well as lovers. As Obama was about to graduate from law school, thoughts of a life together began to emerge. Michelle was impressed by Obama's easy connection with people during a workshop he led for community organizers. She admired how he gave hope to single moms in need. Meanwhile, Obama appreciated Michelle's strength and intelligence, traits that sometimes challenged him. The two shared similar values, but had different views on relationships. Obama wasn't sure about marriage due to his mother's past experiences with multiple divorces. Despite their differences, they married at Trinity United Church of Christ in 1992, marking the beginning of a new chapter together. They both enjoyed successful careers, Obama as a lawyer and community organizer, and Michelle in urban planning and nonprofit work. However, their plans were disrupted by a political opportunity that emerged in 1995. The corrupt congressman from Illinois' 2nd District had to step down due to sexual misconduct allegations. This opened the door for Obama to run for his state Senate seat, an offer he couldn't refuse. Running for office tested Obama's belief in change through politics and democracy. It was a humbling experience, learning the nitty-gritty of campaigning petition drives, detail-oriented work, and tireless efforts to gather signatures. Obama, along with his campaign manager Carol Harwell and field director Ron Davis, navigated Illinois' strict ballot access rules. Their hard work paid off as they collected more than enough valid signatures. Despite facing a strong opponent, Alice Palmer, who also ran for Congress, Obama's determination prevailed. He secured his spot on the ballot and was ready to make a difference in Springfield. This chapter illustrates the power of democracy through grassroots campaigning and community engagement. Obama showed that politics isn't just about big rallies or fancy speeches. It's about getting your hands dirty, building relationships, and earning people's trust at the local level. His story reminds us that every vote counts, and each individual can shape their community through active participation in democratic processes. Chapter 3. In the chapter, Barack Obama recounts his decision to return to politics following a previous defeat. He reflects on his newfound perspective, having learned from his experiences and desiring to serve his community in a more meaningful way. This time, he aims to focus on local issues rather than seeking a national stage. Obama shares how he reconnects with constituents during visits to their home districts across Illinois. These trips reveal common values and experiences among people, regardless of geographical differences. He realizes that bridging divides in politics can only happen by addressing shared concerns and interests, rather than focusing on stereotypes and divisions. In his state Senate work, Obama focuses on legislation that directly impacts the lives of Illinois residents, such as improving education, healthcare, job opportunities, and safety. By concentrating on these areas, he hopes to build trust with voters and improve the community's well-being. The chapter highlights Obama's transition from a local politician to a national figure. His Illinois Senate campaign is fueled by his passion for serving constituents effectively and fostering unity, rather than solely pursuing personal ambition or political gain. This dedication to democratic principles inspires others and showcases the power of grassroots movements in shaping policy. As Obama's campaign gains momentum, it becomes evident that his approach resonates with voters across racial and socioeconomic lines. His emphasis on uniting diverse communities through shared experiences transcends partisan politics and exemplifies the power of democracy in its purest form. Citizens actively engaged, informed, and working together for common goals. The chapter underscores the importance of genuine representation in government and how an individual's actions can ripple throughout a region or even nationwide. By focusing on local concerns and promoting inclusivity, Obama demonstrates that democracy thrives when citizens are involved in their political process. Chapter 4. In the heart of his political journey, Barack Obama found himself amidst whispers and speculations about his potential candidacy for president. The power of democracy allowed everyday people to see possibilities in him that even he hadn't fully recognized. Friends, supporters, and strangers all shared their belief that Obama was destined for the presidency from the moment they met or heard him speak on TV. Obama, however, wasn't a strong believer in fate. He thought it could lead to complacency among those with power and resignation for those struggling. Instead, he felt that life's course was shaped by countless accidents and happenstance, and the best we can do is strive for what feels right and try to make sense of our circumstances with grace and determination. As the 2006 spring approached, Obama began to entertain the idea of running for president, albeit reluctantly. His profile was rising due to media requests flooding his Senate office, invitations to headline events for Democratic candidates in November midterms, and increased mail compared to other senators. Despite his self-doubt, he followed Pete Rouse's advice to expand travel plans, meeting new audiences, supporting Democrats, and campaigning for causes across the country, all while demurring on direct presidential aspirations. Obama grappled with whether he could inspire voters more effectively than his seasoned fellow Democratic senators. He knew a viable presidential bid required meticulous strategy, time, resources, and legislative achievements, something he lacked compared to them. But he also saw the unique opportunity to galvanize young people, minorities, and independents, potentially reshaping electoral maps. Meanwhile, Obama's family observed his internal struggle with growing concern. His wife, Michelle, was particularly affected by the swirling presidential speculation, unsure if she fully supported such a decision. Obama balanced these thoughts as he navigated friendships, senatorial duties, and the mounting possibility of a presidential run, all while honoring democracy's empowerment of ordinary citizens in shaping their nation's future. Chapter 5. In the heart of February 2007, Barack Obama stood on a stage in Springfield, Illinois, announcing his candidacy for president. The cold weather didn't deter the throngs of supporters, numbering over 15,000, who gathered to show their enthusiasm for this new political movement. This event at the old state capitol, a place where Abraham Lincoln had once delivered his famous House Divided speech, symbolized the need for change and the aspiration for a more engaged citizenry. Obama's campaign focused on significant issues like healthcare reform and combating climate change. The rally aimed to move beyond the usual partisan divide in Washington, emphasizing unity and progress. The scene was set against a backdrop of massive American flags hanging nearby, creating a powerful visual impact. Following this announcement, Obama's team, including his wife Michelle and their daughters, traveled to Iowa for the nation's first nomination contest. The campaign was off to an exciting start, but it also came with challenges. The sudden surge in attention meant there was no room for error or inexperience. Every word and action was scrutinized under the intense media spotlight. The campaign faced a unique challenge. Unlike most presidential bids that begin with small crowds and venues, Obama's started in the public eye in the middle of Times Square. This immediate exposure highlighted his relative inexperience in national politics, making him vulnerable to gaffes moments where an unguarded phrase or action could be misconstrued as ignorance or insensitivity. Despite these pressures, Obama was known for his deliberate speech patterns. While this carefulness generally minimized gaffes, it also led to another campaign issue: verbosity. Often, he would provide extensive, nuanced responses to questions, losing the concise punchiness required in political debates. Another challenge was maintaining morale amidst the grueling campaign schedule. Obama's days were filled with 16-hour workdays, 7 days a week, traversing between Iowa and other early primary states. The monotonous routine of sleeping in various budget hotels, rushed meals, and constant fundraising calls took a toll on his spirit, causing a sense of weariness and longing for his family and home comforts. Yet amidst these challenges, Obama found solace in the camaraderie of his close-knit campaign team: David Axelrod Axe, Marvin Nicholson, Reggie Love, and Paul Tewes. These individuals, nicknamed the Cadre, provided much-needed companionship and levity during the grind of the campaign trail. They engaged in games of basketball, shared humorous anecdotes, and offered emotional support, creating a familiar, almost familial atmosphere amidst the political chaos. As the campaign progressed, Obama realized his need to distill complex issues into relatable narratives. This was crucial in captivating voters beyond surface-level rhetoric, a challenge heightened by the seasoned performances of opponents like John Edwards and Hillary Clinton in policy, debates, and forums. The power of democracy was evident not only in the engaged citizenry, but also in Obama's realization of how grassroots efforts could match, if not surpass, established political machines. His Iowa campaign team, led by Paul Tewes, exemplified this through their innovative, youth-driven strategies, turning the state's traditionally conservative electorate into a progressive bastion. This chapter illustrates Obama's journey from a promising political hopeful to a seasoned campaigner, navigating the highs and lows of Democratic competition, all while learning invaluable lessons about leadership, communication, and the enduring spirit of America's electoral process. Chapter 6. In the heart of the presidential race, Barack Obama's victory in Iowa sent shockwaves across the nation. The media hailed it as stunning and seismic, causing a significant blow to Hillary Clinton's campaign. She ended up third, leading to Chris Dodd and Joe Biden dropping out of the race. Elected officials, who had previously been cautious, started reaching out for endorsements. Pundits even declared Obama as the new Democratic frontrunner. This unexpected win, however, placed Obama in a different light. For years, he had navigated as an underdog, keeping his team focused on the campaign, regardless of initial hype or predictions of his imminent demise. Now, with only 5 days until New Hampshire's primary, they had to manage heightened expectations. The enthusiastic crowds at rallies were a plus, but an offhand remark during a debate changed the game. During the sole pre-New Hampshire debate, the moderator asked Clinton how she felt when people said she wasn't likable. Obama, frustrated with such trivial questions, decided to respond. He said, "You're likable enough, Hillary," aiming to be respectful while subtly criticizing the question. Yet, due to poor delivery or spin from the Clinton team, it was misconstrued as patronizing toward Clinton, just the opposite of Obama's intention. Meanwhile, Clinton had an emotional moment during a meet and greet with undecided voters. She choked up while discussing her dedication to public service and fight against challenging odds. This genuine display of passion had mixed reactions from the public. Some saw it as authentic, while others interpreted it as manufactured emotion or a weakness that could harm her campaign. Despite polls showing Obama with a 10-point lead in New Hampshire, unexpected turns occurred. The victory didn't materialize, leading to speculation about independents swinging to McCain and undecided women favoring Clinton. Post-primary analysis pointed fingers at various factors, including insufficient response to negative ads from the Clinton camp. Obama's team, despite the loss, remained resilient. They saw a surge in volunteers and online donations, with high-profile endorsements from Kerry, Napolitano, McCaskill, and Sebelius. These supporters helped reassure the campaign that their standing wasn't as damaged as media portrayed. The New Hampshire setback, though tough, solidified Obama's resolve. It demonstrated his ability to stay calm amid chaos, a trait crucial for presidential duties. His optimism after the loss echoed his campaign's ethos, working hard and earning victory rather than relying on artificial momentum. In the following Nevada caucus, despite losing the popular vote, Obama's strong rural showing secured him an even delegate count against Clinton. This result gave his campaign hope heading into South Carolina primary and Super Tuesday. Throughout this political saga, Obama drew strength from his grandmother's wisdom. A quiet, sensible woman who epitomized the values of hard work, responsibility, and resilience. Her influence shaped his approach to challenges and campaign strategies, emphasizing unity and progress over divisive politics. Chapter 7. In the heart of his presidential campaign, Barack Obama experienced a shift in fortune. A significant boost came when Caroline Kennedy endorsed him in the New York Times, highlighting her newfound admiration for his youth-inspiring approach. Her uncle, Ted Kennedy, soon followed suit, joining forces with Obama for a passionate rally at American University. This symbolic torch passing symbolized a renewed optimism and unity within the Democratic Party, reminiscent of a time when liberal ideals were infused with hope and determination. Super Tuesday presented an immense challenge for Obama's campaign. Instead of concentrating on major states like California and New York, where his opponent Hillary Clinton held an advantage, they decided to focus on smaller, rural caucus states. These states, often overlooked by bigger campaigns, became crucial for Obama's strategy. Idaho is a prime example of this approach. Despite its small size and strong Republican leanings, dedicated volunteers formed Idahoans for Obama. Leveraging social media tools like MySpace and Meetup, they built a community around Obama's campaign. This grassroots effort led to an unexpected victory in Idaho, where the enthusiasm of supporters resulted in a significant delegate haul. This pattern repeated across Super Tuesday, with 13 out of 22 states favoring Obama. Although Clinton secured wins in New York and California, Obama still gained more net delegates. This success in smaller, overlooked states demonstrated the power of a well-executed grassroots campaign strategy, showing that democracy thrives when ordinary citizens are empowered to participate and make their voices heard. Obama's campaign also highlighted the growing role of technology in political contests. By embracing digital networks, millions of small donors fueled the campaign, and new communities formed through online platforms. This online engagement pointed towards a resurgence of bottom-up participation that could revitalize democracy by making it more inclusive and accessible to people from all walks of life. In the midst of this campaign, stereotypes about Obama's Americanness began to emerge. Conservative media and commentators raised questions about his background, citing everything from his time in Indonesia to alleged drug involvement. Obama chose not to engage these false narratives publicly, focusing instead on the substance of patriotism demonstrated through service to country rather than symbolism like wearing a flag pin. Meanwhile, Michelle Obama faced her own set of stereotypes about Black women in politics. Despite her mainstream values and relatable narrative, she was sometimes portrayed as angry or unfeminine by certain commentators. These challenges tested the resilience of the Obama family, showcasing how democracy's strength lies in its ability to embrace diverse experiences and perspectives without being constrained by outdated stereotypes. The Obama campaign exemplified the power of democracy through various means, from harnessing grassroots support, leveraging technology for wider engagement, to standing firm against unfounded criticisms. Their journey underscored that when citizens participate meaningfully in the political process, democracy can overcome adversity and redefine what's possible. Chapter 8. In the summer of 2008, Barack Obama and his campaign team focused on uniting the Democratic Party after a long primary season. Despite tensions, a meeting was held at Senator Dianne Feinstein's home in Washington. Hillary Clinton, though initially wanting to remain a potential running mate, ultimately decided to support Obama for the good of the party and the nation. Obama, respecting her decision, had already considered other roles for Clinton in his administration. He admired her sincerity and perceived no doubts about her readiness for the presidency. Clinton and her husband, Bill, fully committed to the campaign, participated energetically. The campaign then shifted to planning a broader electoral strategy. Obama's team, led by David Plouffe, proposed a different approach compared to previous nominees. Instead of focusing solely on a handful of swing states like Ohio, Florida, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, they aimed to compete in traditionally Republican-leaning territories. This strategy targeted Western states, such as Colorado and Nevada, and even suggested possibilities in historically Democratic states like North Carolina and Virginia, which hadn't voted for their party in decades. This plan was based on data suggesting the campaign could win these states with increased turnout among minorities and younger voters. By broadening the electoral map, Obama's team aimed to secure multiple paths to victory, challenge Republican resources, and boost down-ballot Democratic candidates. Obama recognized John McCain as a worthy opponent due to his military service, resilience as a POW, and willingness to buck Republican orthodoxy on issues like immigration and climate change. However, Obama noted that McCain's concessions to the far right of his party led to nativism and distrust from within the GOP. Despite initial admiration for McCain, Obama sensed a transformation as McCain pandered to these hardline elements during the primary. The candidate shifted rightward on taxes and climate change, revealing a lassoed allegiance to an unpopular incumbent president. Obama prepared for a challenging election, suspecting that voters might struggle with accepting a young, inexperienced African-American senator as commander-in-chief. To alleviate these concerns, he planned a 9-day foreign policy trip. This journey included stops in Kuwait, Afghanistan, Iraq, and meetings with world leaders like British Prime Minister Gordon Brown and French President Nicolas Sarkozy. In Afghanistan, Obama visited U.S. troops and met with President Hamid Karzai, witnessing firsthand the challenges faced by coalition forces. In Iraq, he discussed withdrawal timelines with Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, who echoed Obama's stance on a phased withdrawal. These international diplomatic efforts showcased Obama's readiness for global leadership. Back home, Obama balanced campaigning and personal life, spending quality time with his daughters and addressing family needs amidst intense political pressure. Simultaneously, he grappled with the decision of choosing a running mate, ultimately selecting Joe Biden over Tim Kaine due to Biden's extensive experience and loyalty. As the Democratic National Convention in Denver approached, Obama remained largely unseen, heightening anticipation. His wife, Michelle, and daughters, however, actively participated, delivering powerful speeches and engaging with supporters. The convention culminated in a stadium acceptance speech where Obama echoed Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" address, emphasizing unity and hope for the future. Post-convention, a media frenzy surrounded Sarah Palin's nomination as McCain's running mate. This unexpected choice temporarily revitalized McCain's campaign, highlighting the dynamic nature of democratic processes and the impact of vice presidential picks on election outcomes. Chapter 9. Barack Obama's chapter revolves around the power of democracy, showcasing its influence in various aspects of his life and career. The narrative begins with his purchase of a condominium in Hyde Park, Chicago, a decision influenced by the freedom to choose his living space. This act exemplifies the personal freedom that democracy affords citizens. As Obama's family grew, their home transformed, illustrating how democratic principles allow individuals to shape their environments according to their needs. The chapter also touches on financial decisions, such as refinancing a mortgage and taking out a home equity loan, demonstrating the economic freedoms within a democratic society. Obama's career in politics further highlights the power of democracy. His involvement in local community organizing showcases how citizens can influence their neighborhoods through collective action. His rise to the U.S. Senate and Presidency exemplify the democratic process, where citizens elect representatives to advocate for their interests. The 2008 financial crisis serves as a testament to the interconnectedness of a democratic society. The housing market's collapse led to a ripple effect, impacting global economies. This highlights how individual actions can have far-reaching consequences in a democratic system. Obama's response to the crisis exemplifies leadership in a democracy. He collaborated with political opponents for the greater good, illustrating how democratic institutions encourage cooperation despite differences. The chapter also explores the power of collective action during his presidential campaign. Thousands of volunteers, registered voters, and mobilized supporters, demonstrating the strength of democracy when citizens unite towards a common goal. Finally, Obama's victory speech emphasizes the essence of democracy, the peaceful transfer of power. He acknowledged his opponent, John McCain, and emphasized their shared commitment to serve the nation, highlighting how democratic elections foster unity and continuity. Throughout the chapter, Obama's experiences illustrate how democracy empowers individuals, communities, and societies, shaping personal choices, economic systems, political processes, and social cohesion. Chapter 10. Barack Obama, in his memoir, A Promised Land, reflects on the power and significance of democracy as he prepares to take office as the President of the United States. The Oval Office, a symbol of this power, stands out for its historical grandeur and the reverence it commands. Despite his familiarity with the room from past visits as a senator, Obama still feels a profound sense of awe and responsibility stepping into this sanctum of democracy. The Oval Office is not just an office, but a place that radiates light, symbolizing transparency and the ongoing nature of American democracy. During his 8 years in office, Obama spent countless hours here, tackling various challenges from economic crises to foreign policy issues, all under the watchful presence of this illuminated space. Even during late nights, the room remained luminous, a constant reminder of democracy's enduring vigilance. In the weeks leading up to his inauguration, Obama is seen navigating the transition from campaigning to governing. His choices for key appointments reflect this shift. He prioritizes experience and crisis management skills over new talent. For instance, in crafting his economic team, Obama opts for seasoned professionals like Lawrence Summers and Timothy Geithner to navigate the looming financial crisis, rather than promoting fresh perspectives. This decision-making process underscores the power dynamics inherent in democracy, balancing immediate needs with long-term strategy, often requiring tough choices that might disappoint various factions within his political base. As he prepares for his inauguration, Obama also grapples with the personal implications of his new role. The White House, a symbol of American democracy, now promises to restrict the privacy and normalcy of life for him and his family. Yet, amidst the rigorous preparations and the excitement surrounding his inauguration, Obama remains steadfastly committed to upholding the ideals of democratic governance. a commitment evident even as he privately contemplates the immense responsibility entrusted upon him. Throughout this transformative period, Obama is acutely aware that his actions and decisions will shape not only his presidency, but also the broader trajectory of American democracy. As he steps onto the inaugural platform, he carries with him the hopes and dreams embedded within the democratic fabric of the nation, vowing to lead with integrity and purpose. His administration's success will ultimately be judged by its ability to navigate complex challenges while staying true to these enduring principles. Chapter 11. In the early days of his presidency, Barack Obama faced an unprecedented challenge: navigating the most powerful nation through a severe economic crisis. The new administration was a flurry of activity, with cabinet secretaries yet to be confirmed and staff learning the ropes of their new roles in the White House. Despite extensive pre-election preparation and recruitment of seasoned veterans, nothing truly prepared Obama for the magnitude of his responsibilities. Central to understanding this period was the power of democracy, the collective will of the people, embodied in their elected leaders. This power, however, required immediate action. The economy was on a precipice, and swift decisions were needed to prevent a catastrophe. Obama's team recognized the urgency. They had witnessed the stumbles of Bill Clinton's early administration and were determined not to repeat history. Rahm Emanuel, Obama's chief of staff, emphasized that the presidency starts depreciating the moment you drive it off the lot. This mantra fueled their strategy: capitalize on the post-election momentum to enact change quickly. A flurry of executive orders and policy initiatives followed. Torture was banned, a year-long process to close Guantanamo Bay began, ethics rules were tightened, health insurance expanded for children, and stem cell research resumed, all with the stroke of Obama's pen. These actions demonstrated the power of executive authority within the democratic framework, showcasing how decisive leadership could swiftly impact national policy. Simultaneously, the economic landscape loomed large. The financial sector had already experienced massive failures, and the broader economy was showing signs of a deepening crisis. Unemployment was rising, home foreclosures surged, wealth plummeted, and key indicators suggested an impending recession worse than any since the 1930s. This urgent situation underscored another aspect of democratic power: the responsibility to respond decisively to crises that threaten the nation's well-being. In response, Obama and his team embarked on crafting an ambitious economic stimulus package, a demonstration of how democratically elected leaders can harness resources for national recovery. They knew, however, that selling this initiative to the public and Congress would require careful messaging, balancing the urgency of the situation with realistic expectations, all while fending off political criticisms. Throughout these tumultuous times, Obama was also mindful of the power dynamics within his new administration. He had assembled a formidable team, seasoned veterans and fresh faces alike, each with their own perspectives and agendas. Balancing these diverse viewpoints while steering the nation through uncharted waters showcased the intricate dance of democratic governance, the interplay of competing interests towards a unified direction. These early days encapsulated the multifaceted nature of democratic leadership under crisis. The swift use of executive powers, the urgent need for economic intervention, the intricate web of internal administration politics, and the constant negotiation with legislators and the public. Amidst this whirlwind, Obama was learning that the power of democracy is not just in grand speeches or historical elections, but in the relentless pursuit of progress for the American people. Chapter 12. In the early days of his presidency, Barack Obama faced a severe economic crisis. He received countless letters from Americans sharing their struggles with job loss and home foreclosures. These letters, known as constituent mail, served as a stark reminder of the real-world impact of his decisions. Obama believed in the power of democracy, understanding that his role was to serve the people. He made it a point to review these letters every night, feeling the weight of the trust placed in him by the American people. The letters revealed the desperation of millions, as people looked to him for help with their jobs and homes. Despite making the right choices and working hard, some Americans found themselves without jobs or on the brink of losing their homes. This realization led Obama to acknowledge that even with the best intentions, the government could fail its citizens. As president, Obama introduced initiatives like the Recovery Act and housing programs to aid those in crisis. However, these efforts were met with criticism from various groups, including a business commentator named Rick Santelli, who criticized the plan on live television. Santelli argued that the government was promoting bad behavior by helping those who had taken on mortgages they couldn't afford. Obama recognized that while Santelli's argument seemed compelling, it was rooted in a narrow view of fairness, one that overlooked the systemic issues causing widespread economic hardship. The commentator and his audience, primarily traders, seemed unaware of their own good fortune. They still had jobs while many others did not. The critique from Santelli and others reflected a broader narrative within American politics. This narrative redefined fairness to favor those who felt they were being unjustly penalized, rather than acknowledging the role of luck or circumstance in life's outcomes. This perspective saw any government assistance as a handout to the irresponsible, ignoring the complex web of factors contributing to economic struggles. Obama grappled with these competing narratives: the idealistic belief in the power of democracy to uplift individuals and families, versus the more individualistic view that success was solely a result of personal responsibility. He sought to navigate these differing perspectives while working to stabilize the economy and alleviate the suffering of millions of Americans. Throughout this challenging period, Obama remained committed to the democratic principle that government exists to serve the people. He understood that the strength of a nation lies not only in its economic policies, but also in the compassion and solidarity reflected in how it cares for its citizens during times of hardship. Chapter 13. In the early days of his presidency, Barack Obama sought advice from Dennis McDonough on how to deliver a proper military salute. This seemed like a minor detail amidst the grander responsibilities of leading the nation. However, this episode highlighted Obama's understanding of the symbolic power of presidential actions and the expectations that come with the office. The president's role, as Obama came to see it, was fundamentally about safeguarding American citizens from various threats, be they nuclear attacks, terrorism, or environmental crises. This broad definition of national security reflected his unique perspective, shaped by his diverse upbringing and experiences. Raised partly in Indonesia and Hawaii, Obama had a global view of America's impact on the world. He saw both the admiration and resentment sparked when American actions didn't align with its democratic ideals. This perspective set him apart from his predecessors and sometimes made it challenging to navigate the intricate landscape of Washington politics. Upon entering the Oval Office, Obama faced a daily briefing summarizing global threats, known as the President's Daily Brief, PDB. This document, filled with intelligence from various sources, primarily focused on potential terrorist activities and international instability. The PDB was a constant reminder of his duty to keep Americans safe. Obama's national security team, composed mainly of seasoned professionals, shared a commitment to American leadership worldwide. They believed that U.S. influence was crucial for global progress. While they generally agreed on the importance of hard power for counterterrorism, differing opinions emerged regarding the use of force and international alliances. The team's approach often depended on their generational perspectives. Older members, shaped by Cold War experiences, leaned towards maintaining traditional security strategies. In contrast, younger members, including Obama himself, sought innovative methods to address contemporary challenges, such as the Afghan-Pakistan region's complexities and the importance of soft power like foreign aid and cultural diplomacy. This generational divide sometimes led to tension within his team, as they worked together to formulate policies on war-torn regions like Iraq and Afghanistan. Obama balanced these contrasting viewpoints, aiming for a blend of experience and fresh ideas. In Afghanistan, Obama tackled the challenge of stabilizing a country where corruption was rampant, governance weak, and Taliban control extensive, especially in border areas with Pakistan. The U.S. mission evolved from toppling al-Qaeda to nation-building, training local security forces, and promoting economic development. Despite the complexity, Obama recognized the strategic importance of preventing Afghanistan from becoming a terrorist haven again. In his first major foreign policy decision, Obama accepted a proposed strategy for Afghanistan involving troop increases and a new commander, General Stanley McChrystal. This decision underscored the importance of adaptability in warfare, illustrating that sometimes even seasoned military leaders need to be replaced if circumstances demand it. Visiting wounded soldiers at Bethesda Naval Hospital and Walter Reed Army Medical Center became a poignant routine for Obama. These visits reminded him of the human cost of war young, often working-class individuals from diverse backgrounds who had sacrificed much for their country. As he grappled with these domestic and international challenges, Obama remained committed to fostering a democratic world. He believed in America's role as a champion of freedom, understanding its influence extended beyond military might to encompass soft power elements like cultural diplomacy and economic cooperation. Throughout his presidency, Obama navigated the delicate balance between upholding traditional security protocols and embracing novel approaches, all while staying true to democratic ideals. His leadership exemplified that effective national security isn't solely about military might, but also about harnessing diverse tools, hard and soft power alike, to maintain global peace and prosperity underpinned by the spirit of democracy. Chapter 14. In the heart of international summits, world leaders converge in grandeur. Much like stars walking a Hollywood red carpet minus glamorous gowns and dazzling smiles. The scene is a grand convention center where protocol officers welcome dignitaries, leading them to a lounge for casual conversations before the serious business begins. At the G20 summit in London, I, Barack Obama, found myself amidst a diverse group of leaders, each with their unique styles and nations' agendas. Among them were Gordon Brown, Angela Merkel, Nicolas Sarkozy, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Dmitry Medvedev, Vladimir Putin, Kgalma Motlanthe, later replaced by Jacob Zuma and Manmohan Singh. Gordon Brown, the British Prime Minister, was straightforward, having previously served as Chancellor of the Exchequer under Tony Blair's Labour government. Angela Merkel, Germany's Chancellor, was a pragmatic scientist who climbed politics after the fall of the Iron Curtain, while Sarkozy, France's president, was charismatic and unpredictable. The European duo, despite contrasting personalities, symbolized a post-war reconciliation crucial for Europe's unity and peace. Their collaboration was vital for global financial harmony. The summit's discussions were often lengthy and scripted, filled with talks about protectionism, stimulus packages, and international emergency funds. It was a test of endurance, patience, and the ability to feign interest during late-night sessions. A key challenge at this summit was convincing these leaders, particularly Sarkozy and Merkel, to endorse immediate strategies to combat the financial crisis beyond their initial resistance. This required tactful negotiations and demonstrating the benefits of such actions. The emerging economies, often referred to as BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, held significant potential but also posed unique challenges. Leaders like Lula da Silva showed promising reforms, while others, like Putin and Zuma, had murky backgrounds. Sarkozy, despite his flashy demeanor, couldn't be entirely trusted due to shifting policy stances. Singh's economic wisdom was commendable, but India still battled corruption. China, the sleeping giant, held immense growth potential, but under Putin's influence, its motives were sometimes obscure. These nations weren't eager to shoulder global responsibilities unless directly benefited, often prioritizing narrow self-interests over broader international obligations. Despite their size and economic might, they didn't show a readiness to manage global affairs comprehensively or act beyond their individual gains. My engagements, especially with Medvedev, were strategically timed. I sought to reset the US-Russia relationship, emphasizing shared interests like nuclear nonproliferation and cooperation in Afghanistan. Despite my hopes for genuine dialogue, I was mindful that Medvedev's hands were largely tied by Putin's shadowy influence. The London summit concluded with the G20 leaders agreeing on a crucial financial pact, signaling international cooperation's resurgence following the crisis's early doubts about U.S. global leadership. My wife, Michelle, also left an indelible mark during her visit to a London school, inspiring young minds and sparking educational conversations. The trip concluded with a broader reflection on democracy's health worldwide, a fragile balance between progress and retrenchment, as exemplified by Turkey's political shifts or Central Europe's resurgent nationalism. The legacy of post-Cold War democratic gains hung in the balance, with both promise and peril lurking amidst changing global dynamics. Chapter 15. In the 15th chapter, President Barack Obama recounts a significant period of international tension and internal reflection on national security policies. The narrative begins with the hostage situation aboard the Maersk, Alabama, where Somali pirates took American Captain Richard Phillips captive. The crisis lasted several days until Navy SEAL snipers neutralized the threat, ensuring Phillips's safety. This event underscores the complexities of international crises and the delicate balance required in managing such situations. Obama's perspective on this incident is framed by his broader thoughts on national security and counterterrorism. He acknowledges the fine line between success and disaster, recognizing that sometimes the outcome hinges on minute details, in this case, precise shots from snipers versus potential sea swells. The chapter delves into Obama's approach to national security, particularly regarding counterterrorism efforts. He discusses the evolution of U.S. policy since the Bush administration, noting the shift from conventional warfare in Afghanistan and Iraq to more targeted operations like drone strikes. This shift reflects a more nuanced understanding of terrorist networks and their dispersed nature. Central to Obama's strategy is the importance of upholding democratic values and human rights, even in the context of national security. He emphasizes the need for transparency and accountability in intelligence agencies, recognizing these elements as crucial for public trust. This commitment is evident in his decision to close the Guantanamo Bay detention camp, a facility that had become emblematic of controversial counterterrorism practices during his predecessor's term. Another key aspect of Obama's approach involves international dialogue and understanding, as exemplified by his speeches in Cairo and elsewhere. He underscores the importance of addressing root causes of global tensions, such as historical grievances, corruption, and repression, rather than merely focusing on military solutions. The chapter also highlights Obama's reflections on leadership and decision-making in times of crisis. His encounter with King Abdullah of Saudi Arabia illustrates the subtleties involved in international diplomacy, balancing personal relationships, national interests, and global concerns. Furthermore, Obama's visit to Egypt and the pyramids serves as a poignant reminder of history and human resilience. Standing amidst ancient artifacts, he ponders the transient nature of individual lives and legacies against the backdrop of timeless human struggles. In essence, this chapter encapsulates Obama's multifaceted approach to national security and international relations, one that intertwines strategic acumen, commitment to democratic values, and a profound sense of historical perspective. Through these narratives, he underscores the power of thoughtful leadership and the enduring impact of democratic principles in an ever-changing world. Chapter 16. In the early days of spring, Barack Obama and his family found joy in the south lawn of the White House. The area offered plenty of space for games and exploration, with lush grass, tall trees, a small pond, and even wildlife like red-tailed hawks and foxes. To make the most of their new surroundings, Obama had swing sets installed for his daughters, Sasha and Malia, as well as portable basketball hoops for play with friends and staff. Michelle Obama's passion for promoting healthy eating led to the creation of a garden on the White House grounds. With assistance from Sam Cass and local fifth graders, the garden bloomed with an array of vegetables. The initiative not only encouraged children nationwide to grow their own gardens, but also attracted global attention. The garden produced an impressive yield, supplying the White House kitchen with excess produce that was donated to local food banks. An unexpected bonus came in the form of a beehive, which yielded over 100 pounds of honey annually, and even inspired the creation of a presidential brewmaster role, as Obama began brewing beer with the help of an enterprising microbrewer. One of the most cherished moments during this first year in the White House was the arrival of Bo, a Portuguese water dog puppy, who quickly became a beloved family member and companion to both Malia and Sasha, as well as a comforting presence for the Obamas. The pursuit of universal healthcare reform emerged as a significant challenge during this time. The concept of providing accessible and affordable medical care for all Americans had roots dating back to 1912, when Theodore Roosevelt proposed it in his progressive presidential campaign. However, various factors such as opposition from the American Medical Association and pharmaceutical companies, employer-based health insurance systems, and concerns about government involvement in healthcare had hindered previous attempts at reform. As president, Barack Obama recognized the need for change and the potential benefits of a comprehensive healthcare plan. He acknowledged the complexities involved in reshaping 1/6 of the American economy, but remained determined to press forward. Leveraging the Massachusetts healthcare model as a foundation, Obama sought to craft a bill that balanced personal responsibility with subsidies for those unable to afford health insurance, while also addressing industry concerns and ensuring broad support. To successfully navigate this ambitious endeavor, Obama assembled a dedicated team, including Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius, Director of the HHS Office of Health Reform Jean Lambrew, and Campaign Manager David Plouffe, among others. Together, they worked tirelessly to coordinate efforts across federal agencies, engage with key legislators, and negotiate compromises essential for building consensus on a historic healthcare reform bill. Simultaneously, the team navigated additional challenges that arose during Obama's presidency, such as a global H1N1 flu pandemic and the need to replace Supreme Court Justice David Souter with a qualified candidate. When Sonia Sotomayor was chosen for the role, her diverse background and legal expertise resonated with Obama, making her an ideal selection to join the nation's highest court. Throughout these endeavors, Barack Obama demonstrated unwavering commitment to the principles of democracy. By engaging in open dialogue, listening to diverse perspectives, and fostering collaboration, he sought to harness the power of collective wisdom for the betterment of all Americans. Chapter 17. In the summer of 2009, Barack Obama faced a significant challenge as he worked tirelessly to pass his health care bill. The bill had already passed through various House committees and was awaiting approval from Max Baucus's Senate Finance Committee. However, Baucus was hesitant to move forward, hoping for bipartisan support that seemed increasingly unlikely due to strong opposition from Republican leaders like Mitch McConnell and John Boehner. Obama understood Baucus's desire for a bipartisan agreement, but recognized the futility of waiting for Republican support. He pressed on, hosting numerous meetings with Baucus and other Republicans like Olympia Snowe to negotiate changes. Despite these efforts, progress stalled as Republicans dug in their heels against what they called an unconstitutional government takeover of health care. Meanwhile, Obama ramped up his public advocacy for the bill, holding town hall meetings across the country to rally support from citizens. These events were met with both enthusiastic endorsements and heated protests by conservative groups collectively known as the Tea Party. Their opposition was fueled by fear-based propaganda, emphasizing exaggerated threats like death panels and government intrusion into personal healthcare choices. The president's persistence paid off to some extent, as he managed to maintain a delicate balance within the Democratic Party. Despite internal disagreements, particularly over the inclusion of a public option in the bill, Obama skillfully navigated these tensions. Meanwhile, he continued to reach out to potential Republican supporters, such as Senator Chuck Grassley, who ultimately proved unyielding despite repeated concessions. As August turned to September, Obama found himself at a crossroads. Frustrated by the lack of Republican cooperation and facing a stalled bill, he contemplated alternative strategies. Ultimately, he decided to double down on his advocacy for healthcare reform, even as resistance from Republicans intensified. This commitment to his vision of healthcare reform, despite immense political pressure, exemplifies Obama's unwavering belief in the power of democracy and public service. Obama's relentless pursuit of healthcare reform demonstrated the resilience required from leaders who wish to enact meaningful change, even when confronted with political opposition and public skepticism. His story serves as a reminder that democracy thrives on the tenacity of individuals committed to their vision, despite obstacles and setbacks. Chapter 18. In the bustling White House, Barack Obama, as commander-in-chief, grew more comfortable with his responsibilities. Routine tasks like saluting aboard Marine One or interacting with troops became second nature, much like delivering a crisp morning presidential daily briefing, PDB. Familiarity bred efficiency. Obama could now quickly recall details about Allied forces in Afghanistan and their reliability, or the political leanings of Iraqi ministers. However, he never took this ease for granted, knowing that lives hung in the balance. Each week, Obama received a folder filled with condolence letters to sign for families of fallen service members. The weight of these letters was heavy. He'd pause, reading names aloud like a ritual, trying to imagine the life of each young man, his childhood, dreams, and loved ones. Signing these letters carefully, Obama felt his signature might never be good enough. His relationship with former Defense Secretary Robert Gates was robust. They met regularly in the Oval Office, discussing national security matters. Gates, known for his practicality and bluntness, was respected by Obama for his management of the Pentagon. Their judgments on most issues aligned, though differences in age, background, and political views sometimes created friction. By summer 2009, both shared cautious optimism about Iraq's progress under Prime Minister Maliki. Despite economic struggles and parliamentary gridlock, signs of improvement were evident, declining terrorist attacks and better performance of Iraqi security forces. Obama believed the U.S. would need to continue playing a critical role in Iraq's reconstruction and governance. Afghanistan, however, painted a starkly different picture. The troops Obama had authorized in February were controlling Taliban gains but not reversing the country's instability. U.S. casualties had surged, and Afghan civilian deaths from violence and roadside bombs were rising. Afghan President Karzai's election strategy was viewed as divisive, involving buying off local power brokers and intimidating opponents. His government was seen as corrupt by many Afghans, adding to the country's unrest. The situation called for a fresh approach, but Obama wasn't ready to commit to Gates' proposed counterinsurgency strategy without clear exit strategies or cost estimates. Obama felt pressured, like he was in a game of political chess. Generals Mike Mullen and David Petraeus endorsed McChrystal's coin strategy wholeheartedly, while others on his team, including Vice President Joe Biden, advocated for a counterterrorism (CT) approach focusing on al-Qaeda. Tensions rose when leaks revealed McChrystal's assessment to the public before Obama had fully evaluated it. This strained relations between the White House and military leaders, echoing Bush-era power dynamics Obama aimed to avoid. Concerned about Democratic control of policymaking, Obama decided to challenge the Pentagon's approach. He summoned Gates and Mullen for a stern Oval Office discussion, emphasizing the importance of respecting his decision-making process, especially during such critical national security discussions. The meeting resulted in a mutual understanding, though tensions lingered. Despite the mounting pressure, Obama remained committed to deliberate and inclusive decision-making. His administration's 9 Situation Room meetings to review McChrystal's coin strategy underscored his dedication to weighing costs and benefits carefully before committing troops or resources. Balancing realistic objectives, such as reducing Taliban activity and training local forces, against the realities of warfare was a complex task. The stakes were high. The lives of U.S. soldiers and Afghan civilians hung in the balance. Through these deliberations, Obama grappled with the essence of democratic leadership, making tough calls based on expert advice while considering public sentiment and budgetary constraints. His approach exemplified the nuanced balance required between resolute action and prudent restraint, a delicate dance that embodies the spirit of democratic governance in times of war. Chapter 19. Barack Obama, fresh from his inauguration, sought to reshape American foreign policy. He learned from the narrowing options in Iraq and Afghanistan that military action shouldn't be a first resort. Instead, he wanted to emphasize diplomacy and international cooperation. This meant showing respect and understanding for other nations' perspectives. Early on, Obama's administration shifted the tone of foreign policy statements to highlight mutual interest and respect. They even restored the U.S. UN dues, a move symbolizing goodwill. The Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, traveled extensively, her visits generating enthusiasm and respect from locals worldwide. Obama believed that acknowledging others, their history, culture, and unique identities was crucial. So, during his international trips, he went beyond typical diplomatic meetings. He visited historical sites, tried local foods, and met ordinary citizens. This human connection aimed to show genuine interest in other nations. A standout feature of Obama's foreign policy was hosting town hall meetings with young people overseas. These gatherings were broadcast live on national TV, allowing millions to see him interact directly with citizens. It was a novel concept, demonstrating democratic values and inspiring youth globally. This approach paid off, as global public opinion towards the U.S. improved, making it easier for allies to support American priorities. However, Obama understood that diplomacy had its limits. Some leaders were driven by their own economic interests, historical grievances, or power dynamics, making negotiations challenging. Iran, in particular, posed a complex issue. The U.S. passed meddling, from the 1953 coup to support the Shah to opposing Iran's nuclear ambitions, created lingering animosity. Despite initial overtures, including a secret letter to Ayatollah Khamenei offering dialogue, Iran remained uncooperative. As president, Obama faced the challenge of an assertive Iranian regime with nuclear aspirations. He navigated this by trying to engage diplomatically, even hosting town hall meetings with young Iranians, hoping to foster a new generation of leaders committed to peace and cooperation. Simultaneously, he worked with allies to impose sanctions, pressuring Iran towards nuclear compliance. Obama's foreign policy embodied the power of democracy, not just in words but through actions. By promoting mutual respect, understanding, and direct engagement, he aimed to broaden global perspectives and foster an international community based on shared values and interests. This approach, though complex, was a testament to his belief in diplomacy and democracy as powerful tools for change. Chapter 20. Barack Obama, in his chapter, reflects on the United Nations' role and the power of democracy. He shares personal anecdotes from his time as president, attending the UN General Assembly meetings known as UNGA Week. This hectic schedule is filled with diplomatic engagements, speeches, and negotiations with global leaders. Obama's views on democracy stem from his mother's teachings about the UN's establishment post-WW2. She explained that fear of the unknown often leads to conflict, so a place for nations to gather peacefully the UN was essential. This idea was influenced by the belief that reason and progress would ultimately triumph over humanity's primal instincts. Despite its imperfections, Obama remains convinced of the UN's vital function. The organization has helped shape international norms, mediated conflicts, and averted wars, leading to better living standards for millions around the world. For instance, the UN played a significant role in more than 80 former colonies gaining independence. Obama acknowledges the UN's shortcomings, including bureaucratic hurdles and corruption within some agencies. However, he highlights successful initiatives like vaccination programs and disease eradication efforts as evidence of its positive impact. One ongoing challenge during Obama's presidency is Iran's nuclear ambitions. Despite sanctions and diplomatic pressure, Iran continues to develop its nuclear program. Obama discusses a strategy involving Russia to temporarily slow Iran's progress by shipping its enriched uranium stockpiles for conversion into fuel with no military use. This plan demonstrates the importance of international partnerships in advancing global security. Through these experiences, Obama emphasizes that while imperfect, democratic institutions like the UN are crucial for fostering global cooperation and progress. His narrative underscores his faith in democracy's capacity to address complex challenges and promote peace and prosperity worldwide. Chapter 21. In his memoir, Barack Obama shares the story of how he prioritized environmental issues during his presidency, particularly focusing on combating climate change and preserving wildlife habitats. As a leader deeply connected to his constituents' needs, Obama recognized that environmental concerns, while crucial, often took a backseat to more immediate matters like jobs, healthcare, and economic stability for his voters. The turning point came with the growing evidence of climate change's severe impacts. Recognizing the threat of rising global temperatures, melting ice caps, extreme weather events, and potential increases in conflict and disease, Obama decided to make environmental issues a central focus of his presidency. He understood that these challenges posed long-term dangers to future generations, including his daughters Malia and Sasha, and the natural beauty he cherished from his upbringing in Hawaii and Indonesia. Despite the political challenges, Obama and his team strategized to tackle climate change without alienating key voting blocs. They avoided emphasizing drastic changes that might jeopardize jobs, instead highlighting the benefits of environmental policies on job growth in clean energy sectors. Obama endorsed a cap-and-trade system, aiming to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050, while also promoting research and development for renewable energy sources through the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. The administration's efforts bore fruit quickly. Under Obama's leadership, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, strengthened clean air standards, and automakers agreed to improve fuel efficiency standards for vehicles. Simultaneously, investments in renewable energy projects flourished, such as wind farms and solar power initiatives. Obama's approach showcased the power of democracy by demonstrating how an elected leader could influence national policy based on public concern and scientific evidence, even amidst political resistance. By working within regulatory frameworks and leveraging executive powers, he navigated the complex web of interests, from environmental activists to industry lobbyists, ultimately steering the nation towards a more sustainable future. This story underscores how a president's vision can mobilize action on pressing issues like climate change, demonstrating that democratic governance, when guided by enlightened leadership, can effectively address global challenges. Chapter 22. In his second year as president, Barack Obama faced significant challenges in maintaining public support and navigating the complexities of American politics. The narrative unfolds in Chapter 22, where Obama reflects on the barrel, a metaphor for the rough patches often encountered by presidencies. These rough patches arise from missteps, unforeseen circumstances, or controversial decisions, leading to public disapproval and intensified scrutiny. The chapter highlights several key events contributing to this turbulence. One such event is the attempted terrorist act by Umar Farouk Abdulmutalab on a flight from Amsterdam to Detroit on Christmas Day 2009. This incident, known as the underwear bomber case, exposed weaknesses in the nation's security measures and led to criticism of Obama's administration. Simultaneously, the economy continued to struggle. Despite emergency measures and stimulus packages, high unemployment rates and housing crises persisted. The public grew frustrated with these issues, and political adversaries seized opportunities to criticize Obama's policies. A significant factor contributing to the decline in Obama's popularity was the economy. According to political analysts like David Axelrod, referred to as Axe in the narrative, the economy's sluggish recovery was the primary reason for Obama's sliding approval ratings. This period of sustained economic struggle and public criticism led to what Obama describes as being in the barrel, or trapped in a challenging situation with mounting problems. As president, Obama reflects on his role during this turbulent time. He acknowledges missteps, such as not addressing the public promptly after the underwear bomber incident, which led to criticism from various political fronts. Despite the challenges, Obama emphasizes the importance of learning from these experiences and understanding the complexities of presidential leadership and American democracy. The chapter also explores the power dynamics within the executive branch. Obama highlights the intricate balance between managing government operations, making unpopular decisions, and maintaining public trust. He discusses the importance of communication and setting expectations for citizens during challenging times. This narrative showcases how presidential decision-making involves navigating these complexities while being accountable to the democratic process. Moreover, Obama delves into the significance of public perception in politics. He explains how sustained negative media coverage and partisan criticism can erode support for a president's agenda. Conversely, timely successes or positive distractions can alleviate such pressures, illustrating the volatile nature of public opinion in American democracy. Furthermore, Obama touches on the delicate relationship between a president and Congress. He discusses how allies might become less supportive during rough patches, highlighting the checks and balances inherent in American governance. This dynamic underscores the interplay of power between the executive branch and legislative bodies, a cornerstone of democratic systems. Lastly, Obama's reflections on these experiences emphasize the necessity for presidents to balance pragmatic leadership with public communication. He underscores how navigating these complexities is integral to effective governance in a democratic system. This narrative underscores the importance of understanding and leveraging democratic processes while acknowledging their challenges, contributing to the broader discourse on presidential power and democracy. Chapter 23. In the heart of the Gulf of Mexico, Barack Obama watched as the Deepwater Horizon oil rig burned after an explosion in 2010. This disaster highlighted the power of democracy, showing how everyday citizens could be affected by decisions made far from their shores. The Deepwater Horizon was owned by Switzerland-based Transocean and leased by British Petroleum, BP, one of the world's largest oil companies. The rig was drilling an exploratory well in a promising oil field called Macondo, about 50 miles off the Louisiana coast. This operation was part of America's relentless pursuit of oil, with over 3,000 rigs and platforms scattered across Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama waters by 2010. This incident, however, wasn't just about the financial implications for the region or the livelihoods of tens of thousands dependent on the oil industry. It also underscored the political ramifications of such disasters. When an environmental catastrophe struck, Obama knew his administration's policies would come under scrutiny. This explosion occurred as Obama was pushing for a more extensive offshore drilling in the Eastern Gulf and parts of the Atlantic coast, hoping it would help reduce dependence on foreign oil sources like Russia and Saudi Arabia. This move was part of his broader, all-of-the-above energy strategy, aiming to diversify energy sources while dealing with climate change. However, the Deepwater Horizon incident became a wrench in his plans. Environmental groups, who were initially open to expanded drilling, as per negotiations led by Senator Lindsey Graham, quickly turned against it following the disaster. They argued that the risks of deep-sea drilling couldn't be managed effectively, and this stance made it harder for Obama to rally enough support for his climate change legislation. The president was now faced with a dilemma. His administration's push for broader drilling access was jeopardized, not only due to environmental concerns, but also because of the public's changing sentiments post-accident. This shift in opinion further complicated efforts to secure necessary Republican support for the climate bill, as the political cost of collaborating with Obama remained high. Moreover, the disaster highlighted the interconnectedness of seemingly distant issues and their impact on local communities. The Deepwater Horizon incident was a potent reminder that decisions made miles away could have profound consequences for coastal economies and ecosystems. Ultimately, the explosion and subsequent oil spill showcased the power dynamics in American democracy, how a single event could sway public opinion, influence political agendas, and challenge administrative strategies. Barack Obama, like any other leader, had to navigate these complexities while striving to protect both the nation's environmental interests and his administration's policy goals. Chapter 24. Barack Obama embarked on a 9-day trip to Asia, starting with Mumbai, India. This journey included stops in Jakarta, a G20 meeting in Seoul, and an APEC meeting in Yokohama, Japan. During the flight, Obama played spades with Marvin, Reggie, and Pete Souza to pass the time. Reflecting on his recent midterm election losses, Obama acknowledged mixed emotions: weariness, disappointment, anger, and a sense of shame. Pundits criticized him for refusing to admit errors and being delusional about his administration's policies. However, Obama held firm in his beliefs, particularly on healthcare reform, Obamacare, and other initiatives like a climate change bill and immigration reform. He was determined to reconnect with the American people, strengthen his negotiation hand with Republicans, and pave the way for re-election. Obama recognized the need to escape the Washington bubble and engage more frequently with voters. Turnover in his White House staff was underway, with key figures like Jim Jones resigning and new appointees such as Tom Donilon and Bill Daley joining. Despite these changes, Obama felt a sense of melancholy, surrounded by fewer people who knew him before his presidency and fewer colleagues who were friends. In Mumbai, Obama visited Mani Bhavan, Gandhi's former residence, reflecting on Gandhi's life and legacy. Despite facing significant challenges, Gandhi had led a nonviolent movement that inspired freedom struggles worldwide. Obama's visit to India coincided with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's administration, which he admired for its market-based economic transformation and commitment to global health and nuclear security cooperation. Yet, Obama pondered whether Singh's leadership represented a lasting shift in Indian democracy or just an anomaly. Post-trip, Obama faced the lame duck session of Congress, with limited time to pass key legislation before the new year began. He targeted the ratification of New START on nuclear nonproliferation, repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and passage of the DREAM Act for undocumented youth. Despite skepticism from aides, Obama pressed for these goals amidst political challenges and divided government. Obama navigated complex negotiations with Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, ultimately securing a 2-year extension of Bush tax cuts in exchange for extending unemployment benefits and other stimulus measures. While this deal was criticized by progressives as a concession to Republicans, Obama believed it positioned him strongly for re-election. Reflecting on his presidency, Obama grappled with the power and limitations of democracy. He saw how economic crises and polarizing issues could inflame divisions, even in a resilient democratic system like India. Despite setbacks, Obama remained committed to advancing progressive policies, learning from past mistakes, and fostering unity in the face of political strife. Chapter 25. In the autumn of 2010, Barack Obama, then President of the United States, found himself deeply engaged with the complexities of Middle East politics. Among his many concerns, one stood out as particularly pressing: the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This long-standing dispute, rooted in the creation of a Jewish homeland following World War II and the subsequent Arab-Israeli wars, had seen its share of attempts at resolution over nearly 7 decades. At the heart of this issue was Jerusalem, a city revered by Muslims, Christians, and Jews alike. The conflict's intricacies were further compounded by the presence of Israeli settlements in disputed territories like the West Bank and Gaza Strip, which had become breeding grounds for extremism and resistance groups such as Hamas. The president was well versed in this history. He understood that Israel's security concerns were legitimate, but he also recognized that the Palestinians' lack of self-determination and basic rights exacerbated tensions. This dual perspective fueled his determination to broker a lasting peace between these longtime adversaries. The power dynamics within this conflict were nuanced. On one side, Israel stood as a staunch U.S. ally, supported by American Jewish communities who valued its role in an often hostile region. This support, however, sometimes blinded the global community to Israeli actions viewed as violations of international law and human rights norms. On the other side were Palestinians living under occupation. Their struggle was both a humanitarian concern and a political challenge for their Arab neighbors. Despite vocal international support, many Palestinians felt their cause was being exploited by these same nations to deflect attention from their own human rights issues. The president saw this conflict as an opportunity to strengthen U.S. security and credibility on the global stage. He believed that resolving it could enhance regional stability, weaken anti-American sentiment in Muslim communities, and underscore American commitment to human rights worldwide. In his quest for peace, Obama drew upon a seasoned diplomatic team, led by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Special Envoy George Mitchell. Their strategy included a settlement freeze request from Israel, a move aimed at creating a more balanced negotiating environment. Yet, navigating these talks was not straightforward. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, an avid supporter of Jewish settlement expansion in the West Bank, initially resisted this proposal. Meanwhile, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, cautious and focused on political survival, also proved a challenging negotiating partner. Despite these hurdles, Obama pressed on. He saw the potential for progress in the shifting regional landscape, even amidst the persistent turmoil of Middle Eastern politics. The power of democratic aspirations, he believed, could uproot long-standing conflicts and reshape international relations, a principle that guided his approach to this intricate and consequential diplomatic endeavor. Chapter 26. In the bustling Situation Room, Barack Obama and his team spent hours strategizing. They wanted to stop a potential massacre in Libya, but needed to keep U.S. military involvement minimal due to other ongoing conflicts. The plan was clear: persuade France and Britain to drop their no-fly zone proposal, seek a UN resolution for broader protection of civilians from Gaddafi's forces. The mission's first phase would have the U.S. assisting in halting Gaddafi's advance on Benghazi and disabling his air defenses. Afterward, European nations and Arab allies would take over most of the operation, mainly handling airstrikes while these countries provided logistical support. Obama sought advice from Defense Secretary Gates and Joint Chiefs Chairman Mullen. Despite their usual reluctance for humanitarian missions during wartime, they agreed this plan was viable, limiting U.S. risks. Obama's team worked tirelessly, crafting a resolution that was eventually passed by the UN Security Council on March 17, with Russia abstaining. As the campaign got underway, Obama continued his Latin American tour, focusing on improving trade relations and fostering democracy. He even managed to squeeze in a visit to Rio de Janeiro's favela, connecting with kids amidst their hardships, reminding them that change, though not immediate, was still possible. Meanwhile, the Libya mission unfolded. US and British warships started firing missiles, dismantling Gaddafi's air defenses swiftly. European jets carried out airstrikes, effectively pushing back Gaddafi's forces and establishing a no-fly, no-drive zone in much of eastern Libya. Despite initial success, Obama remained vigilant. He knew the American public's support was shaky, and any setbacks could undermine their efforts. A minor hiccup occurred when a U.S. fighter jet crashed during the operation, but fortunately, the pilot was safely rescued by friendly forces. Within 2 weeks, the coalition's air superiority overwhelmed Gaddafi's resistance, forcing his loyalists into retreat. NATO took command, and opposition militias gained ground against Gaddafi's forces. The future of Libya's government, however, remained uncertain amidst worries about potential civil war, without democratic institutions or traditions to guide it. Amidst all this, Obama pondered the weight of his presidential role, balancing international crises with domestic concerns. He was grappling not just with foreign policy and economic recovery, but also fending off partisan politics and racial anxieties, all while striving to maintain hope for a better future. Chapter 27. In the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden remained at large, his whereabouts unknown until May 2011. During this time, Barack Obama, then a U.S. senator, advocated for refocusing efforts on bringing bin Laden to justice. Upon becoming president, he made the pursuit of bin Laden a top priority, insisting on a formal plan and regular updates. In May 2009, Obama summoned his advisors to discuss the hunt for bin Laden. The CIA's Leon Panetta and his deputy, Mike Morrell, presented a promising lead: a potential location of an al-Qaeda courier believed to be connected to bin Laden. This lead traced back to a large compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, home to a man known as Abu Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, suspected of serving as a courier for bin Laden. The compound was unusual, with high walls, barbed wire, and security measures indicating that its occupants may have been of significant importance. The analysts noted the presence of children matching bin Laden's offspring and observed a pacing individual they dubbed the Pacer. While not definitive proof, the evidence suggested a strong possibility that bin Laden was hiding in this compound. Obama directed his team to explore options for an assault on the Abbottabad compound. Two primary choices emerged: a precision airstrike or a covert special ops mission. The airstrike, while seemingly low risk, posed challenges such as uncertainty of bin Laden's death and potential collateral damage. The special ops, led by JSOC's Admiral William McRaven, involved helicopter-borne Navy SEALs landing in Pakistan to neutralize the target and return without triggering a larger conflict with Pakistani forces. Obama ultimately favored the special ops mission, confident in McRaven's leadership and the capabilities of the Navy SEALs. The decision highlighted the power of democracy, the ability for elected leaders to make tough calls based on expert advice, even when faced with high stakes and uncertain outcomes. As the mission unfolded, Obama gathered in the Situation Room alongside key advisors, anxiously watching real-time video feeds of the raid. When SEAL Team 6 secured bin Laden's compound, news of his death echoed through the room and across the nation. The successful operation affirmed the strength of American democracy, the power to unite behind a goal, execute complex strategies, and achieve a significant victory. In the following days, Obama addressed the nation, reflecting on bin Laden's death as a testament to American determination and unity. He acknowledged the sacrifices of the military, intelligence community, and first responders since 9/11, emphasizing that democracy thrives when citizens come together in shared purpose. The operation in Abbottabad showcased how a president, guided by advisors and supported by dedicated public servants, can effectively harness the power of democracy to protect the nation and uphold its values. And that brings us to the end of our summary of this book, I hope you found it insightful and valuable. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe for more. Your support helps us bring you more great content. Thanks for watching.